Okay, guys, so today we're going to be reacting to all the times SpongeBob should have died.
That SpongeBob literally doesn't make any sense.
He has plot armor, bro.
Yeah,
It's
logic
obvious.
is the last thing that I think of when I think of SpongeBob. But
Like, bro,
what
his
if there
plot
was
armor is
real world
pretty
logic
obvious.
in SpongeBob? What if he could actually die from all the insane things that he's done? Today, we're going over all the times that SpongeBob should have died. Starting in the episode, Shanghaired. Now, seeing a flying ghost ship would send anyone running, but for SpongeBob, it was just another Tuesday. He climbed aboard without even a second thought, and from the very start, death was basically waiting for him. He climbs onto the ship willingly, straight into the arms of a ghost who immediately burns Squidward alive. SpongeBob only realizes it's dangerous once his best friend is screaming, but it doesn't stop there. The Dutchman threatens to eat them, and their escape plan nearly kills them in the perfume department. That hallway alone should have suffocated them. Yet somehow, SpongeBob survives, only to be caught again. His final hope is 3 wishes that he gets granted, and the first 2 go horribly wrong.
Wishes? I wish on that earlier.
You got 2 wishes left. I wish Squidward were here to see this. Squidward!
And when it's SpongeBob's turn, he makes a smart choice, only for the Dutchman to twist and toss them into a blender. How he lived through any of that is a mystery, but getting kidnapped by the Flying Dutchman should have been a guaranteed death sentence. But this wasn't the only time SpongeBob's brains, or lack of, nearly killed him. Let's talk about the next time he almost died, this time from having an exposed brain. In the episode Scaredy Pants, SpongeBob's brain has made so many cameos that it should have killed him over 1,000,000 times.
Come on now, SpongeBob. You need to pull yourself together.
We were the first kids on the block to get whirly brains.
But perhaps the one that should have made him drop dead is in the episode Scaredy Pants. This one starts off fairly innocent. On the evening of Halloween, SpongeBob gets bullied as the crew gets to know that he's easily scared, leading him to earning the name SpongeBob Scaredy Pants. He asks Patrick for help, and they try out a bunch of tricks, but none really make anyone scared. Fed up, SpongeBob decides to use one last trick that he's had up his sleeve. He shows up at a Halloween party at the Krusty Krab, and though people were initially scared, they started laughing as soon as they realized that it was SpongeBob. But things change when the Flying Dutchman appears and get offended at SpongeBob's costume.
You scary!
I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of people who can walk around with that much of their insides exposed. He was lucky he had the ability to grow his skin back. Otherwise, he definitely should have died at the party. But it's not just SpongeBob's brain. His most favorite place in the world is constantly out to get him. Let's talk about the one time he almost died from workplace hazards. In the episode Krusty Krab training video. This episode fulfills many people's dreams to work alongside SpongeBob, but the training video casually reveals the darker sides of the Krusty Krab. The episode starts off with the Krusty Krab's backstory. It ironically began with Krabs committing fraud as a little kid. It informs us that the Krusty Krab used to be a nursing home until it got renovated into the restaurant it is today. Then it guides us through the technological advancements that are working to keep the business running smoothly. Basically, what you'd expect to find in the most ordinary restaurants. Except, Krabs has some special names for them.
This here is an advanced patty control mechanism. Here you can see our automated money handling system.
But the highlight comes when the actual training part of the episode starts. The training starts with personal hygiene, and SpongeBob isn't just told to clean his hands. He's not allowed to stop scrubbing until his hands no longer exist. On top of this, he's made to cut off any spots on his face with a pair of scissors. Then comes cleaning his workstation, and he's seen vacuuming on top of the stove. The odds of a fire hazard there is so great that SpongeBob has a better chance of surviving out of water. Everyone knows how Mr. Krabs is really cheap, but he only pays SpongeBob a penny a month. If workplace hazards don't kill him, starvation certainly should have. And that's not taking into consideration all of Plankton's evil schemes for the Krabby Patty secret formula. It's a miracle that he's able to go to work every day and come back alive. And the fact that he's even able to get enough food to survive. Speaking of eating enough, there was once a time when he swallowed an entire bomb. Yeah, we're talking about the episode Dying for Pie. It's well known that Squidward hates SpongeBob, but this episode takes that idea to a whole new level. It starts off with Squidward dreading the Employee Brotherhood Day because, well, he hates SpongeBob. But the yellow sponge is the complete opposite, being excited to give Squidward his gift. When gifts are exchanged, Squidward is empty-handed, while SpongeBob presents him with a sweater made of his own eyelashes. Now, it's a miracle how SpongeBob got that many lashes, but Squidward's disgusted reaction makes him really upset. So upset that he actually makes a sweater from his own tears. In response to this, Squidward makes it clear that he just wants to get a cheap gift for SpongeBob. Instead of taking time to make one, he encounters a group of pirates who tell them they are making bombs that look like pies. And when the pirates realize that Squidward will buy the pies from them if they were normal, they change the deal. Squidward naively buys the pies, one for Mr. Krabs and one for SpongeBob. But the pies never stopped being bombs. And when Mr. Krabs broke off a piece, it exploded. But by the time they realized this, it was too late for SpongeBob, who supposedly ate it. Filled with guilt, Squidward finally acts like a good friend to SpongeBob. He takes him around, even doing dangerous acts to check everything off SpongeBob's bucket list. In the end, he takes him to see the sunset as the final item on the list, creating a wall between them to protect himself. Squidward tears up as SpongeBob says that he would be happy to die now. Luckily for him, his kindness saved him from an explosion from within. He wanted to share the pie, and hence never ate it. But even then, the bomb exploded very close to him. How he survived here is a mystery. But this isn't the only time that Squidward almost killed SpongeBob. And this next one was nearly death by exhaustion. In the episode, Can You Spare a Dime? What started as a really kind gesture turned Squidward into a SpongeBob abuser. The episode begins with Squidward quitting his job after being accused of stealing Mr. Krabs' first dime. He didn't want to change his mind because he had big ambitions, so SpongeBob believes him after extending a kind hand if he ever needed one. When SpongeBob meets him again, Squidward had been living in a cardboard box. Feeling bad for him, SpongeBob lets him stay at his house until he can find a new job, pampering him with breakfast in bed and massages. But this would eventually spell disaster for SpongeBob. Squidward would not allow him to sleep, constantly interrupting him for stupid reasons. Still, he remains kind, even giving Gary excuses for Squidward's behavior. Months pass by, and Squidward is obviously having no intentions to stop his royal treatment from SpongeBob, not looking for new employment or trying to be a better version of himself. He becomes completely dependent on him. SpongeBob becomes a servant to Squidward, who gets as much as he can get from him. He goes as far as to clearly ignore all the hints to get a job from SpongeBob, even lying and saying that he's allergic to the job listing section of the newspaper. Eventually, a fed-up SpongeBob pushes that bed that Squidward's lying on through the upstairs wall and all the way to the Krusty Krab. He demands that Krabs give Squidward his job back, while throwing as many dimes at Krabs as possible. Finally, at the end of his threat, SpongeBob snaps in extreme rage and fury, grabs Mr. Krabs by the throat, and lashes out at him for his cheapness. Just how much SpongeBob has been pushed to his limits is clear when the usual cheery Sponge downright threatens to kill Krabs. He shakes Krabs violently, which is what saved the day. The first dime falls out of Krabs' pants with a large coin-shaped rock, revealing that it was in his pocket the whole time. The sleep deprivation, the mental torture, and the physical exhaustion would have killed any normal person, but SpongeBob only survives because he's the main character of the show. But this isn't the only time someone worked SpongeBob to the bone, because in this next one, he almost experienced death by sleep deprivation in the episode Fear of a Krabby Patty. This was one of the most dangerous plans that Plankton ever had, because SpongeBob could have easily died in this episode. It begins with Krabs adjusting the restaurant's business hours until he sees what Plankton is up to. The Chum Bucket announced that it will be open 23 hours a day, and with how competitive Krabs is, he raced to come out on top. Krabs announced that the Krusty Krab is now a 24/7 working restaurant, and he didn't hire anyone new, of course, so the job immediately fell to SpongeBob and Squidward, who were now required to stay up through the night for working. All is going according to Plankton's plan, who wanted to get the formula out of an exhausted SpongeBob. SpongeBob. After 10 days of nonstop service, somehow SpongeBob keeps working. And to give you an idea, the average person cannot be trusted with a stove just 3 days after no sleep. But SpongeBob is not only near a stove, he kept flipping Krabby Patties for over 240 hours. Because that didn't go according to plan, Plankton goes a step further by doing something much worse.
Rusty Crab, the restaurant that never closes. You'd like to place an order? 10,000 Krabby Patties.
Krabs, without a second thought, gives the order to him with no breaks.
1,322.
Day 23. Day
8,659.
What's going on?
After 43 days, SpongeBob begins to crack, cooking the Krabby Patties wrong. He gets pushed so much that the exhaustion makes him develop a fear of Krabby Patties themselves. After all of this, Plankton finally tries to take advantage of him, and a few of his tricks do not work.
Now, let's unload all that harmful information in your little yellow head.
As a last-ditch effort, he tries hypnosis, but that just ends up curing SpongeBob's fear, as all he needed was some sleep. 43 days of no sleep and constant working should have made SpongeBob fall into his beloved stove and cook like a Krabby Patty. This wasn't a one-time thing either. In the episode Graveyard Shift, Krabs does a similar thing, but in that episode, Squidward scares SpongeBob into believing that a hash-slinging slasher monster will get him. The only good thing is that he's awake for only one night, and the horror story wasn't true, but it clearly shows that Krabs will take advantage of him whenever he can. Well, this was him being a good worker. Being a driver doesn't seem to help him either. So now, let's talk about the time he almost died from a car accident. In the episode Bumper to Bumper, it's no secret that SpongeBob is a bad driver. The guy has literally taken the test over 1.2 million times.
Help! Lunatic driver!
SpongeBob, give me that wheel.
I got it.
But his deadliest one was in the Bumper to Bumper episode from season 9. Mrs. Puff, who has been good all day until then, immediately breaks down when she sees SpongeBob.
Mrs. Puff.
And right from the get-go, it's easy to see why. SpongeBob first reverses the car, then does multiple 360-degree spins to fix his mistake, until his steering wheel breaks. Once that happened, SpongeBob has totally lost control of the car, leading him to crash through multiple obstacles. He managed to knot the road he was driving on, and even set the whole boat on fire. To top it all off, he crashed right into someone's house, leading Mrs. Puff to fail him again. But as if 6 brushes with death weren't enough, Mrs. Puff tries to keep faith in him and attempts to teach him again. This time, she took him to a real road, which went just as badly.
This isn't just any road. It's a 10-lane intertidal seaway.
Somehow, even 1.2 million times wasn't enough to pass his test. And at the end of the episode, the policeman tore up his license. So even after all that effort, poor Spongy never got what he tried so hard for. But this isn't the only time that SpongeBob almost died because of boating school. Next, we have to talk about what happened in the episode Ditchin'. Everyone is a fan of something or the other, but in this episode, SpongeBob nearly loses his life for being a fanboy. After watching an episodes of The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, SpongeBob finds that there's a book signing from his favorite superheroes. But this makes him really upset, because he has to go to boating school that day. Not wanting to damage his attendance record, he decides to ditch boating school while pretending to go to the bathroom. The plan worked out nicely, and by the next day, he got to the book signing. But when he saw that Dale, who was an ex-convict, got arrested, things started to break apart. A fish told him that Dale became a criminal after ditching class, making SpongeBob guilty. After that, he tries to go bat. This was his biggest mistake. In his hurry to go bat, he drowns in a pit of tar and nearly dies. He only gets out because of his determination to return the bathroom key to Mrs. Puff. But this could have gone either way, and he would have died by drowning. But this isn't the only time that SpongeBob's explorations nearly killed him either. In Rock Bottom, no one could have predicted that taking the wrong bus could have led to SpongeBob's death. But thanks to his plot armor, we see him survive surviving in some of the most dangerous habitats.
That's why my
The
video
episode
is
begins with
titled that.
SpongeBob
'Cause
and
Bruce
Patrick
Farmer's
accidentally
crazy.
taking the wrong bus to rock bottom. Its residents are deep sea creatures who are not known for being merciful. They have glowing eyes, razor sharp teeth, and even their voices are enough to send shivers down everyone's spines. The environment that surrounded these people wasn't welcoming either. It was in complete darkness, with bizarre structures and the perfect atmosphere to kill. Even the vending machines try to kill SpongeBob. He spends the whole episode alone, hungry and determined, while creatures that could have easily killed him are sneaking in the shadows. If this happened in real life, a sponge as small as him would have been swallowed in a matter of minutes. Luckily, SpongeBob survives a whole night and only gets out because of the friendly anglerfish, who helps him back to Bikini Bottom. But now, let's talk about the next near-death experience. In the episode, Frankendoodle. In the episode, SpongeBob and Patrick find a harmless pencil dropped by a French artist. They play around with it, drawing whatever shapes they can think of. But it turns out there was a surprise waiting for them.
SpongeBob, your drawing's coming to life.
This gave SpongeBob an idea to prank Squidward. He draws himself, hoping that it would be a joke and good fun. The drawing became what SpongeBob called Doodle Bob, but things quickly started to go horribly wrong. It turns out to be a fight for survival, with Doodle Bob beating the pair. He only had one mission: to erase the original version of SpongeBob from existence. SpongeBob thought that this would be over when he erased his doppelganger, with the eraser on the pencil. But he couldn't be further from the truth, as he didn't do the job right. Doodle Bob redraws himself and comes after SpongeBob again.
How do you redraw yourself when you're not even existing?
The fight
anymore?
only ends
What?
when SpongeBob traps Doodle Bob on a piece of paper. But that wasn't the end of Doodle Bob. He appears again in the Doodle dimension. Only this time, it was SpongeBob and Patrick who were in Doodle Bob's territory. He appears to have upgraded his skills, having the ability to create entire whole armies now, and even turn other drawings evil.
Are you sure he got that skill, or he only has it because he's in his own universe? He probably always have it.
The pair only get away after they tie balloons to
he's
Doodle Bob's
still in
army.
Bikini
The
Bottom,
doppelgangers never
he
seem to
probably
leave
won't be able to
SpongeBob
do it.
alone, as this next one almost causes his death. In the episode, The Cave-Dwelling Sponge. If the Flying Dutchman didn't haunt him, SpongeBob's lookalike from the prehistoric times certainly did. The episode starts really innocently, with a walk in nature,
Squeaky
but Patrick's
shoes.
stupidity soon got his tongue on ice. Melting the ice got Patrick free, but it also awakened a caveman version of SpongeBob. Unaware that the new sponge was hiding in his backpack, the pair returned home, but the chaos quickly starts spreading. The cave sponge, now called Spongy Sponge, follows SpongeBob around, but his intentions were not as pure, as he causes massive property damage and even critically damages Squidward. Poor SpongeBob is blamed, taunted, and jailed for his crimes that he didn't commit. What's most terrifying in this episode
Bro, your
is how
arms
easily
don't even
people
fit
turn
in
on
that.
the
They're
sponge they have
tiny.
known for years at
You
this
could
point.
easily
Even
get
when
out of
Squidward
there.
saw Spongy Sponge, he couldn't tell the difference. This leads
Please
to the
don't.
ancient sponge directly attacking customers. Had the truth not come out, SpongeBob would have easily gotten the death sentence for all the crimes that Spongy Sponge did. But while Patrick's stupidity got SpongeBob in this situation, it was his clumsiness that got him in another brush with death, this time almost dying from an infection. In the episode, The Splinter. The episode starts with SpongeBob accidentally throwing his spatula into the ceiling. When he tries to get it back, he falls and nearly gets critically injured from the surrounding sharp objects. His spatula saves him, but even that couldn't prevent SpongeBob's landing. He slips on some tartar sauce, causing him to drag his finger along the wooden floors, giving him a splinter. It immediately makes his thumb red and swollen. Squidward scares him into thinking he'll lose his job because of the splinter, causing SpongeBob to panic. So instead of going to the doctor, he goes to Patrick. But whatever Patrick did makes the situation worse. Eventually, the small wound became so infected that it grew as big as SpongeBob's head, making it harder to hide. Patrick also panics and says that his doctor shift is over, leaving SpongeBob alone with his troubles. He eventually runs into Krabs and Squidward again, making him fear the worst. Krabs finally does the obvious and removes the splinter, and this lets all the infection out and the wound returns to normal. But an infected wound like that is no joke. Before antibiotics came a thing, it was one of the leading causes of death, but somehow SpongeBob is healed without any medication. But while this was all underwater, his luck didn't get any better on land. because in this next one, he almost died from dehydration in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. In the climax of the movie, SpongeBob and Patrick face certain death in the gift shop, but this was no ordinary gift shop. It was a beachside one selling sea creatures as souvenirs. The diver puts both of them under the intense light of the lamp, slowly removing all the water from them. A slow, painful death with both of them not even being able to move. They accept their deaths as even SpongeBob's arm breaks off. In one of the most emotional scenes, SpongeBob believes what everyone told him, that he was just a kid who was way over his head. Realization hits that just as they arrived at the destination they were longing for, they could not achieve the goal they were set out to do. They cry, and this ends up being what actually saves them. They turn into dehydrated souvenirs as the audience cries for them, but the tear travels to the socket of the lamp, short-circuiting it and creating smoke. The smoke then turns on the sprinklers, with the lamp turned off and the sprinklers spraying life-saving water. The pair is revived. This isn't the first time we see SpongeBob dehydrated, as it also happens in the very first season. Sandy invites SpongeBob over to her house, which runs on air obviously as Sandy needs to survive, but it wasn't until the end of that scene that she realizes that she needs water to save him. But everyone can agree that the scene in the movie is probably the closest that SpongeBob has ever come to absolute death. That was all the times that SpongeBob should have died. If you liked the video, be sure to smash that subscribe button for more.
Okay, guys, so that's gonna be the end of the video. Bye, guys.